how does our system work? The same physical sensors that has been applicable to our everyday lives and is the same devices that are leveraged for health monitoring today. The big difference is that the data or information that is collected from these sensors are no longer just aimlessly making something ding or sending a text. It's being processed in the background by what we call AI bots.
Thanks so much for hopping on today's podcast. I'm excited to speak to you today and learn about your work at Iveda. First, can you fill me and the audience in on what originally sparked the idea behind Iveda and your product IvedaCare and your vision for like supporting caregivers and healthcare staff?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me, Bert. The question of what sparked Iveda, it goes back 23 years ago. You know, the company's been around 23 years ago. I was a pretty young cat when I founded the company. But again, it's always been a problem, right? When you're looking to solve a problem, you build a solution, a program, a system, a technology around it. Though Iveda was founded on cloud video data, hosting, communications technology, we evolved from cloud video and IP video for security and safety to AI and IoT device platform company, which manages a multitude of data. When we talk IoT, there's nothing more than just data. When we talk about video, yes, you're watching TV, you're watching a security camera, that's also data. Iveda is proud to say that after 20 years, we're the guys that make sense of such data, despite where it's coming from around the world. And making sense of that, now that we're talking on specifically IvedaCare, our health kit for aging at home, dementia care for individuals who reside solely at home. What sparked that really is a problem that technology, no matter what industry you're in, you're looking for efficiencies, operational efficiencies. So when you think about healthcare providers, in-home care, anybody that visits for whatever reason, patients that need that assistance, what we're doing now is we're providing the one convenience of understanding what's happening currently, understanding patterns of last week. And then with AI added today, even the possibilities of predicting what might be wrong so that we help the caretakers prioritize. So what sparked IvedaCare, you ask? Again, it's simply solving the problem of inefficiencies. How do you make an operation or a task more efficient? That's how it all got started.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And I love how you evolved the company over the last 20 years to now being this IoT, AI device focused company. And like you said, AI is a big part of it because it helps you understand what was potentially wrong. You collect a lot of data through your health kit, like you described, but when you add AI to it, it makes the insights even more compelling. And so with that in mind, Kit, what is like the gap that, this or the problem, you called it a problem. Like what is the problem that's really being addressed for this aging at home population and even like the facility markets, because I think you and I both related to this, where if we take the boomer population that's going to retire here, they have two paths, right? They can either age at home or age in place, or they could go to a facility like a senior living assisted living facility. And so what problem is Iveda addressing in those markets?
Good points. And, there's quite a few. But you said that our elders have a choice, right? They can either be in a facility or they can be at home. And frankly, the decision that either facility care or home care is based on financials, right? So we're addressing the pain point of high costs. There's a lot of costs when it comes to how you're taken care of, whether at a facility or at home. So having this technology allows the monitoring of your health and your well-being by professionals more efficiently and effectively, even without needing to be present at all times. And that presence at all time is what triggers the high costs, right? The financial concerns. And then that obligates a decision of either path. So cost is one. And then on the caretaker side, whether organization or individual, Bert, there's short staffing, right? You're in the industry, you're in the arena. And
Yeah.
staff shortages has been prior to even the pandemic. And now since the pandemic, we're realizing that staffing is of issue. So you're talking about short staff, which leads to what? Quality, right? Another problem is lack of supervision. This is where the AI comes into play, is lack of supervision also creates a lack of communication. The children taking care of their elderly parent. So you want to know what's going on. How's mom doing? You're at a company outing in New York, mom's in San Francisco. You hired healthcare providers. It's that communication ecosystem that frankly still has a gap. Even with all our mobile technology today, there isn't a true means to tend to all of that. Where, today it's still a phone call, it's still a text. But when you're short staffed, when you're not very efficient, that communication is also, there's a big gap. So I can go down the list of what issues and pain points the industry currently has to operate by. So we do all we can to find what these shortcomings are, and if technology can help it, that's
Yeah.
where we try to fit in.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, monitoring of well-being, staffed, lack of supervision, creating lack of communication. Those are all big problems to address, and especially the lack of supervision is salient. As more seniors, I think, an elderly age at the home, like we need that 24-hour, supervision. There's always these horror stories I heard of. I was talking to my mom the other day about one where, I think this happened to a Hollywood actor or actress actually, where they were not being supervised or monitored in the home, and the person had a heart attack sitting in their couch at home, and no one found out until days later, and the dog also passed away while he was because there's no one so in the absence of that monitoring, those devices that can listen and no, okay, there's been no sound in this home, or there was a large thud or a fall, right? All these telltale signs that can help our elderly and help families know of what's going on. That's what it's all about. And so,
Correct.
and with that in mind, I know you may have brought even the health kit to the podcast today, but can you fill us in on how this health kit with its AI powered monitoring works, and how you guys make it simple to implement across homes and facilities? Yeah.
Delighted to. Yes, and
Yeah.
thank you for queuing me up there.
Yeah.
Here's a starter kit. The very
Nice.
nice looking starter kit. And I'll try to, there you
Oh, there
go.
it is.
Yeah, there you
Hopefully an
go.
app store. Okay.
Right. Yep. So with this said, how does it work? This kit, it reminds you of, remember back in the day of when we were talking about smart homes, right? The 2005, 2008 smart homes was a thing. And even prior to that in the 90s, I don't know if you recall Radio Shack. So I like to refer back to Radio Shack to let people know how simple the technology really is, right? It's
Yeah.
nothing, wow, out of this earth. It's making sense of information. Even the 80s, 90s, 70s, there's something called the motion sensor at Radio Shack. You walk into a 7-Eleven, it goes ding dong,
Yeah.
right? Every store back then. Same motion sensor technology. Yes, a little bit more accurate and all that cool stuff, less power consumption.
Yeah.
But where we fit in is I make the installation easy. We all know how to install certain alarm systems, security systems, and little sensors throughout the house, humidity, temperature, motion. We're all used to dealing with that in some form or another in the past. But in the past, when any of these sensors were triggered, Bert, all you got was maybe a ding or a speaker, or now, of course, with mobile phones, you get an alert. To me, and of course with technology today, to you, you're probably going, great, there goes another ding, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't provide you any information other than somebody opened my window, somebody touched something, or it's too hot. So how does our system work? The same physical sensors that has been applicable to our everyday lives in smart home systems, alarm systems, safety systems, is the same devices that are leveraged for health monitoring today.
Wow.
The big difference is that the data or information that is collected from these sensors are no longer just aimlessly making something ding or sending a text. It's being processed in the background by what we call AI bots. these bots have pre-built modules of tasks and care, meaning you are asking the AI to monitor for a specific reason. There's a reason behind this. For example, you have motion sensors in the kitchen, hallway, living room, office, bedroom, and restrooms. Mind you, motion sensors, totally private. All it knows is that something's moving. It doesn't see anything. Okay? Now, with just motion sensors alone, with the AI backend, we are now, you have mom. Mom's pattern is she wakes up at 5:30 every morning. And the first place she visits, yes, that's the restroom. The next place she visits is she's going to heat up that hot water kettle, get some tea. So she's going to go down that hallway. She should be entering the kitchen. That's the trend. After the kitchen with the tea, she's going to go out into the porch. That porch door is going to open. There's a motion sensor in the porch as well. She's going to sit there. She's going to sit there maybe for 15, 20 minutes. And then usually she goes back, either sits on a sofa, watches some Netflix that you set up for her, and takes a nap. I just shared with you a healthy routine. Ideally, if mom was following that routine, the AI is saying it's consistent. She's healthy. When she's in the kitchen, there's also motion sensors and sensors in a drawer, open, shut, the whole magnetic thing. Again, Radio Shack technology. Two magnets touch, it's closed. Two magnets open, it's open. Except now we can sense for that, knowing that she opened up the medicine cabinet, right? She opened up the refrigerator. She probably got something to eat. These assumptions, these are no longer just assumptions. This is consistent data collected by the AI, and it builds a rhythmic pattern that recognizes mom's okay. Anytime there's an anomaly, what is that anomaly? Mom did wake up at the same time. She did visit the restroom, but what happened in the hallway?
Right.
What happened in the hallway? There's a 1 minute, there's something is not right. At that moment, the AI sends communication to caretaker. Sends communication to the caretaker. Caretaker would then call and ask. Caretaker, and if mom answers the phone, we're okay, we're good, whatever. But if there's not, then it goes to the next level. It goes to emergency. And then it also notifies the family members in what's called the trusted circle. So now that communication gap, Bert, is handled by technology that keeps everybody in the loop, family and all stakeholders, in the best interest of the patient. So I gave you the most simplest way of how this works, right? From the devices, double click somewhere into your home, to an app that now connects all these devices and starts recognizing patterns, and you just live. There's no need to monitor it. It's here to help you 24/7.
Yeah. It's almost like with this expertise of devices and sensors that you've developed over the decades, and now with AI, like it's almost like it's noticing when there's pattern interruptions, right? Which is typically at a core, that's where you're gonna find, like, hey, mom fell in the hallway, right? It's like, it's happened to my parents. They've stubbed their toe or they fell, and it's like, I didn't hear about it until weeks later. But what if it was something worse, like?
Yes.
So that's, you called it the trust circle, or
Yeah,
they're all notified about that, which is fascinating.
that is correct. You can communicate with each other within the trust circle, right? You have a sister there. The system also notifies your sister to remind your sister to check in with you. This is not just a text that goes and hopes that somebody sees it. This is making sure somebody does.
That's fascinating. I love that. And what's some of like the real world impact or results you've seen with this? Like both for like those families in the trust circle, but also for like, overwhelmed facilities where this might have an application or has an application for, what are some of those like success stories you've seen? I'm curious. I'm sure you have plenty of them, but any come to mind?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I actually in our own backyard here in Arizona, we work with a local partner that operates senior facilities. And I have to say, instead of going to the popular, we detected a fall or we prevented, that's a given. I don't want to talk about that, just like how schools, everybody's talking about weapons and guns. I'll share something a little bit more real and down to earth. One of our end customer, it was an elderly lady. We had a visit to the facility to help with both technology and to also just get feedback. And I was able to witness one of my people talking to an end user, meaning an elderly woman, very happy, go lucky, loves to tell stories. And you know what she told us? She loves our technology. She loves the IvedaCare system. She calls it the IvedaCare system. And we like, why is that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, my son. I've never spoken to my son as often as I have been before the technology was installed. To
Yeah.
her, to her, it wasn't about anything technology. It wasn't about anything helping her be well and helping her be healthy and stay, afloat in there. To
Right.
her was, I don't know what this does, but my son is contacting me more and I'm having more conversations with him than ever before. And why is that, Bert? The technology is keeping the son in tune with mom's routine
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
day, and he doesn't get random alerts of things moving. The system's designed to say, mom's doing well today. She just finished her cup of tea. I mean, it's communicating with you like that. And then, of course, her son would go, hey, mom, what kind of tea did you have? And
Right. Right.
that
Wow.
engagement, that human interaction brings life, brings the love, and it that in itself improves so much in your emotional and mental health that I don't know if it's measurable. Again, I'm not in that direct industry, but this
Yeah.
is, you ask what has been the impact. I'm excited and we get a little emotional because our end customers are feeling this in different ways. Their value is recognized
Yeah.
beyond the corporate technologies guys saying, yeah, we have fall detection and our sensors are multi radio. No, patients don't care about that.
Yeah.
Patients feel. So I'm so happy to share with you that our Iveda Care has really improved the lives by making people happier. Not about preventing falls all the time. Granted, the physical aspect, that's a given. That's why we design this stuff. But
Yeah.
we hope we're not, watching people fall all day long. I want people to pick up the phone and what the old AT&T commercial, pick up, reach out and touch someone,
Yeah.
right? We reinvented that technology, man. Reach out and touch someone. That's pretty
I love
cool.
that. That should be your
Yeah.
new slogan. No, that's a lovely story though. Like around the elderly lady being able to speak to her son more, and it goes
Yes.
back to what you said. There's this problem of lack of supervision creating a lack of communication, but this is solving directly. That story directly shows how you're solving that, right? Like there's been more supervision, more of like communication to the son of this is what mom's doing, and now the son is
Yes.
more involved. And like whereas without the in the absence of the technology, it's like, hey, I may check in with mom once every few months, like, or the facility has it taken care of. Like, what do I need to communicate with? And you're not in tune with the day to day, of mom or dad. So
That's a true sentiment. That's what's happening. And we hope that we can alleviate that and we can promote more family communication and that in itself, just hearing her speak, that's a wow moment for us. I'm like, wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Hmm.
love that. Yeah, you should try to get that. And I know there's like HIPAA compliance and all that, but like getting that story, recorded with her and how the impact it's had on her and her son, that could be really neat. But
Yeah.
and no, these stories. That story was really impactful, and clearly you have a really good sense of why you're building this, and your end users are happy. But the question I have to ask is like, what are the broader like barriers to adoption in healthcare for this? Is it earlier you mentioned staffing shortages being a part of it? Is it education? It doesn't sound like it's comfort with the sensor technology, because clearly, the elderly lady was happy with the Iveda care system. What are your, from your perspective, that you've seen as the broader barriers to adoption in healthcare for this type of technology?
I think it's education and awareness till this day. You think that you talk to a lot of people when you're in the industry. You think that you can connect on LinkedIn and reach out and somebody's going to get it. I've had the opportunity with pros within your arena of work that take me out into the field and we meet with homes and caretakers. Everybody's very excited, but they're still needing to understand, okay, what's it going to take and how do I manage it? And I'll share with you the barrier to entry is not the tech, whether it works or not. It's the health side of it, needing to understand how to best manage the tech. There's still some misconception that it's technology. It's kind of like the IT misconception. Oh no, it's IT. I'm not the IT guy. I don't know what to do. Well, I get into caretaker and opportunities of home care providers, and the first thing they're concerned about is the resources it's going to take to manage this. They think it's another project, right? That's how things normally work, right? You get a new technology, you get a new platform, you get some new wheelchairs. There's somebody that needs to manage that, and it's we're already lacking resources, right? We're lacking funds, we're lacking staff. So with all this lacking, boy, bringing on this whole new technology that it all sounds great, but who's going to manage it? Who's going to take care of it? That's the education is where I speak in layman's terms with you, Bert, is you don't need anybody to take care of it, right? Radio Shack was before the internet, was a very popular company all around the world. Nobody had to take care of things from that. The tech is simple. It's built to last. And more importantly, everything now, yes, we are HIPAA compliant from the security of how data is managed, cloud, etc. But with all that said, I think it is still education because why? It comes back to the same problem. The people who need the help most are not the patients. This is what I've learned in working in trying to pitch the technology because I had to learn the industry. I, as naive as anybody would think, wow, we have any technologies. I've got a great product. This is cool. No, I'm not going to go to grandma. I'm not going to go, hey, dad. They couldn't care less. But they don't think they have a problem. But the people who have the biggest problem that this technology can serve, but still do not believe or know yet, are the care providers themselves. The people who are managing folks who are visiting the homes. That's where the technology comes into play. This is not designed to be sold to the elderly, not sold to our parents. This is sold to people who are caring for our parents and sold to us who want to be more aware of our parents. And that is the education I need help with, the message I need help conveying. Because a lot of people, well, David, I mean, it's too hard to operate. No, it's too hard for my dad, but not too hard for one IT guy that manages 300 patients. It's going to help save him or her time and a lot of gas and a lot of headache. I'm telling you, that's where I need help spreading the word.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, knowing, the technology is easy to implement, but there's this education and awareness barrier. You gave the example of Radio Shack, but what came to mind was actually like the Best Buy model with their Geek Squad, where like, okay, you come into the store, you need something, but we'll send someone to the home if you need like an installation. Is that in your wheelhouse too, or do you have plans to kind of have this sort of like Geek Squad model where it's like, okay, like no problem, like your IT guy needs help or your caregivers need help, like here's someone that like set it up for you, handle all the installation, and like we'll train you on how to use it type of thing. Have you guys considered that?
Yeah, that's actually a very good topic to bring up. We have considered that, and it is not something that we, the provider of the technology, would do, but through the ecosystem of our partnership, there are professional organizations that would install anything that, like you're right, the Geek Squad concept, whether it's a flat screen TV, a new alarm system, or Alexa. Well, now it's that same group of people who can be called out or can be contracted by the provider to actually handle this for their patient home. So yeah, there's a lot that's been built into the ecosystem. And when there is a willing and partnership with any organization that's ready to deploy, all that is ready to go.
Yeah, because like you said, this technology has been around for a while, and it's like I think about the analogy of like our voice like AI technology. Like it was almost like when it first emerged on the market, people are like, when can I use voice and like speak to something? And it prompts back. And then it felt like from one day to the next, Google Home and Alexa was in like all your devices in the home. And then you have Google Home devices, and now,
Yeah.
the elderly population even use them, and it's like, how did that happen from one day to the next? And they made device installation as easy as possible, and they made it so prevalent where it was built into the things you use, like speakers and now you can plug it into a wall unit, and it's like you guys are almost headed down this path too, right? Where eventually it's almost like everyone's gonna have it,
Yep.
and
All you need is Wi-Fi, and you mentioned it so well. Is I visited multiple senior homes that have, these systems integrators that it's the same company, the same guys that would come in and install the TVs at these units and install the panic button. It is that same partnership, or I would say ecosystem, that can deploy easily IvedaCare. And
yeah,
when IvedaCare gets in there, it's just part of, just say Alexa. I've seen tenants, I should say, or patients would ask, "What's for lunch today?" And Alexa would say it's integrated with the cafeteria menu, and she knows she's having mashed potatoes and, this
yeah,
fried chicken, all kinds of cool stuff, and it's all automated. Same with IvedaCare. It could be fully integrated in that type of deployment.
yeah.
All in one shot.
Fascinating. It's like the next generation of like we went from voice AI to now like there's going to be a whole kit with devices that has AI backed monitoring. It's like the next evolution of like the same technology. It's just like it's like the next evolution of it. Like we're
Yeah.
building on it. It's
Yeah,
fascinating.
it's
So
a physical layer
yeah,
monitoring.
yeah. And so where do you see things heading next with this smart technology and AI for caregivers and different healthcare facilities? Like what's next on your roadmap, or where do you see this technology moving?
As a company, Iveda promotes and focuses on smart city integrations, right? And within a smart city is such a big word. It's a vast initiative. But anything smart just requires sensors and data collection and making sense of that data. I truly believe that as we continue to lead in the smart city initiative, helping cities around the world where everything from monitoring water flow, street light efficiency, we got to start somewhere, right? You can't just go boom and the city becomes smart. You got to start from ground up. It's physical
Yeah,
infrastructure. There's always existing infrastructure that you need to understand and collect data from before you can even make intelligent decisions. And that's the roadmap for constructing a smart city. I share that is that I think with these initiatives around the world, our university systems, our campuses, our home builders, everybody's finally thinking smart. And of course, recent few years, AI, everything all of a sudden is AI, which is fantastic.
yeah,
So when I share with you, Bert, that there's education that is required, there's more awareness that is required. I see the technology flourishing as the community at large begins to really hear more about the benefits, and it becomes more of a standard rather than an option. So it could be a double-edged sword for guys like me. We want to sell this stuff quick, but if we're patient enough, it's going to be a part of life whether you think about it or not. So I do see this as a great success. I do see this blending into societal norms, and of course in the healthcare, with this is the thing: rising costs, lack of staff, technology usually steps in. So that's where I have my faith of the success of products like Iveda Care will be finally becoming more
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
readily
No,
available.
I like the smart city analogy. It's basically like we go from smart cities to smart cities with smart assisted senior living facilities and smart hospitals eventually, right? Like
Yeah.
I think facilities make sense because it's more like stationary care. Like you
Mhm.
have your tenants, you call them, whereas hospitals have a lot of influx, efflux. So
Yes.
it's not as
Yeah.
constant. Yeah, Fascinating. And yeah, to help close things out here for us, how can listeners who have listened to this point and are like, wow, this is fascinating, how can they explore Iveda and your IvedaCare technology and get in touch with you guys online?
Yeah, you definitely can read up more, study more, even watch more online at Iveda.com, our website, or please follow Iveda on all social platforms. But more specifically, you can just go to
Get the start.
IvedaCare.com, and
Yeah.
right there you'll touch the product we're talking about.
And the starter kit was what I even misspoke. It's only, I thought coming into this call it's like 300. It's literally $30 a month, right? Like once they're recurring. It's like you weren't lying about low cost. Like it's yeah.
No. Imagine a unit, each living dwelling unit, $30 a month gives you all the services that I shared with you. Monitoring. Now you think about it. This kit, remember, I'll come back to Radio Shack. Starter kit's $250 to $300. Remember, you came in thinking it was $300 a month.
Yeah, yeah.
$300 gets you the kit installed for however long. And it's
Yeah.
$30 a month that gives you the
Wow.
intelligent support.
Yeah, that's worth it. I mean, there's so many sons and daughters of moms and dads that'll buy into that. It's just a matter of time. And it's been wonderful speaking to you today, David, and really excited to keep tabs on your guys' journey. Love what you guys are building. Keep it up, and excited for the audience to hear this too.
Bert, thanks for your time and thanks for your interest, man. This has been a good conversation.